My name is Drongo Dingo, and this is my story of JJ Plagiarisms. I know he's not going to watch this at all, but I need to say this anyway. JJ, let's sit down. Just sit for a moment and listen. Let's find a compromise. I don't hate you, and I never have hated you. I want to understand you, and I want to reach a consensus. We need to put this drama to bed. Genuinely, I want you to heal and be a better person, and for you to be successful. Your Star Wars content is not my cup of tea, but you work really hard on it, and I'm proud of you for finding something that you have a passion for and are successful with. When you think about the story of JJ Plagiarisms, you think of people like Stu Dog, Rogue Internet Man, The Wanderer, TKS Mantis, and
Condenser.
Even new players to the scene, like Lucky Kennedy and Tyler Mason. But through all that, from the very beginning, I've been here in the background. I just haven't had a big audience like the others to say my piece. When I first encountered JJ Plagiarisms, his name online was Old Painful. I was in the TKS Mantis Discord server at the beginning of that whole Oxhorn drama he had. Oxhorn's fans would come into the server pretty often and cause misery. One day, I was in the voice chat with my mates, and this new guy called Old Painful joins. Naturally, we're a little bit skeptical. He's awkward and weird, but we don't really think much of it. Then, he interrupts the conversation and talks about his dog leaking his privates. We're all a bit stunned and think nothing of it, and try to get back to whatever we were talking about. But then, Old Painful doubles down and says he has pictures of his dog's red rocket. At that point, we're all freaked out and tell him to go away. A few days later, the same thing happens, only this time, Painful is talking about how his dad taught him to jack off. We tell him to shut the fuck up. One of my best mates in the server, a guy called Yes Man, and I decided to have a little fun. Yes Man, shout out by the way if you see this, I really miss you, man. He was an admin on the server, and he had a bot or something that would make a really annoying noise whenever Painful spoke. It was that shit. We thought it was the funniest thing ever, and everyone liked it because we didn't have to listen to Painful. He then starts reading and saying that no one is showing him any respect and that we're bullying him. We tell him he's making everyone uncomfortable. I sit down with him and tell him that like trust, you have to earn respect. You don't just get given it. He doesn't seem to understand us at all. I said to Yes Man and the others, let's just throw him another bone and give him another chance. No one's perfect. He keeps saying weird shit, like talking about giving children alcohol, and of course we tell him to shut up, and we keep going on with the conversation that he was interrupting. Then, he brings up Eric Cartman. It's at this point that TKS Mantis steps in and tells him to stop making people uncomfortable or leave his server. So, where does he go? He goes to Rogue Internet Man's server. Most of the people were in both servers, and we saw Painful move to Rogue's, and we weren't happy. This is when we start to do some digging into this guy. It turns out he had a previous profile on Discord called Mutated Fern, and he was the centerpiece of a big drama in a Discord server called The Four Pillars. We talked to some of the people there, and he was doing the same stuff, only under a different name. This was when we realized this wasn't him trying to break the ice by making weird jokes. This was learned behavior that he thought was acceptable. I'm drinking fucking I'm drinking like whiskey on the rocks, staring out at like the rainy night tonight. I feel like I'm in like a noir detective film, like I've seen them all. I've been a detective for 40 years and I've seen some things you wouldn't write home to mama about. And I put them all in the clink. There was that oxyhorn guy. There was that weird folk who said Australia didn't exist. I even got that pink man. But that one guy, Old Painful, that's the name that haunts me because he's the one that got away. Anyway, this was around the time that I was making some of my own videos for funsies. So things like hopping on the Oxhorn drama, talking about weirdos on the internet like the Wonder Bread person. And this is when Old Painful approached me and asked me to do some voiceover work for one of his own videos. When I received the script, it was illegible. No punctuation, all one paragraph, just no spacing, it was awful. This was during my a media and communications degree at university, I was taking script writing classes for, stage, film, plays, all that sort of thing. And I offered, as a token of goodwill, to show him a few things and even edit his future scripts. He took that olive branch and he tore it to shreds. He screamed at me about how I was an idiot and that I had to send him what he wanted to. So I thought, okay, if you want to play ball, I stage. So I did as he asked, and as soon as the video went up, I started a massive stink about it, and about how he tricked me and lied to him about the script and how he shot my persona. I absolutely knew what was going on. I was just doing it to fuck with him. Do I regret what I did? It was pretty cringe, honestly. I should have just told him to get bent. Anyway, so Painful keeps going on talking about Cartman and how he deserved to be punished and assaulted, and all of us had had enough of Painful by then. People even tried to explain why this was wrong by sharing their own personal experiences. Now, people only remember the two girls who said he deserved what happened to them. But there's a third person. Me. I was 12 years old when I was attacked, and it happened. I even showed Painful, JJ Plagiarisms, whatever you want to call him. I even showed him the police report that I made, and he said it was fake. And not only do we know that JJ Plagiarisms is Australian, but he lives in the same city as me. Faking police documents in our state would land me in jail for 10 years. Why would I spend a decade in the slammer for the sake of some internet beef with someone I don't know? Then there was the live stream with Rogue, and the rest of this is history. The thing about plagiarisms is that he never seems to understand that you can't just say whatever you want on the internet without consequences. Forums and message boards like Discord are the village square of the internet. When you get up on that stage and say something, people are going to react. Plagiarisms, like I've said, is an Australian. He would understand the pub test. The pub test is an Australian legal practice where policies or legal decisions are put before the average Australian at the pub. Things that are considered fair and reasonable will pass the test, while those that aren't will fail. This is practiced in Australian politics and society for many issues, from legal verdicts to proposed policies and even celebrity gossip. Now imagine if I said the things that JJ Plagiarism said in a pub test environment. If I told the guy drinking next to me that my dog licked my crotch, or that my dad taught me to masturbate, or that I thought since Eric Cartman was a bad boy, he deserved to be raped, I'd be fucking dead. Same rule applies with online forums. Everything you say is a pub test, except instead of getting glassed, you get banned. Another thing that JJ Plagiarisms has done time and time again is paint all of us with the same black brush. What do I mean by this is, if one person says something, according to plagiarisms, we all think that. A prime example of this is when someone, I think Yes Man, made a joke, not an accusation, a joke, that plagiarisms did some unspeakable things to his dog. This was about after we heard about the dog licking the crotch. Now, plagiarism says that we all have accused him of this. Again, singular joke. Something else that plagiarisms always does, which isn't fair, is that he expects textbook-length pieces of evidence of things about the claims we made. When we provide, he says it's either fake or he doesn't even look at it. It just says it's lies and slander. What about his own statements? Well, they're the gospel truth. Everything that plagiarism says is the truth, and he needs no evidence because he's the victim. If you say otherwise, then you're a piece of shit. And we all know what he thinks about pieces of shit.
Yeah,
Thank
you deserve to be raped right in the arse.
One of the defenses that plagiarisms parrots is that he was only 16 at the time of what happened, and therefore he's a child and not responsible.
Objection! Objection! Objection!
According to the Parliament of Australia's website, in all Australian jurisdictions, a child under 10 years cannot be found guilty of a criminal offence. There is discussion in the state of Victoria to raise this to 14. Even if that happens, plagiarisms was 16. legally responsible for the defamatory and hateful actions he committed. Especially what you're saying at the moment about me. Hey? Do I believe that JJ Plagiarisms is a lolcow? Yes and no. I honestly believe that we made him into one. The thing about JJ Plagiarisms is that he will always come back with a different name and different theme for his channels. There was Mutated Fern, Old Painful, Cacodemon Films, JJ Plagiarisms. There was one channel that he had between Painful and Cacodemon Films. It was just a podcast with his friends. Rogue Internet Man was the one who spotted it and mass pinged everyone and released his bloodhounds. I tried to stop it. I honestly did. I tried to get people to just leave him alone. But to no avail. And I think this is what has solidified Plagiarism's hatred and remorselessness. I would like to think that at some point he did regret his actions, but I know that's not true. He's never shown any remorse. The only apology we ever got was forced out of him by Rogue, and then he immediately stepped back on it. And he has shown time and time and time again that he doesn't regret it, and that he thinks that we're all liars. Is there anything that I agree with JJ Plagiarisms with? Well, no one has ever disagreed that Cartman's a piece of shit. That's the point of his character. The problem is when JJ Plagiarisms said that Cartman deserved to be raped as a punishment for being a piece of shit. He is a child. That doesn't matter. Take it from someone Take it from someone who had that happen to them when they were a child. I would rather you put a bullet in both my kneecaps. I would rather lifelong I would rather you just put one in my fucking brain than have that happen to anybody, especially a child. Do I think that he'll change? No, absolutely not. Especially now that he's made his own echo chamber with his own Discord server. We've seen the communications that happen in there. The people in there are awful. Like, if you like Disney Star Wars, they are saying you deserve to be beaten and bullied. We've seen messages in there where people who like the Star Wars sequels are seen as lesser people. Literally like a caste system. They're not great films. I don't think Dave Filoni's done amazing things for Star Wars, but that doesn't mean you think someone deserves to get the shit kicked out of them because their views differ about a fucking TV show. The only way I think that he could change, although I doubt it will get him to change, is if he ever got to the point of breaking a law and we can prove it, and then we get lawyers involved. I've honestly really felt conflicted about All Painful. He's only a year or two younger than me. I was 16, 17 years old when all this started. I'm 25 now. I've graduated university with 3 tertiary degrees. I've got a full-time job. I've traveled the world. I've grown up. I've moved on. When all this started, I was very, very mentally ill, and I was in constant therapy and on a ton of drugs. But all through that, I've wanted to be a better person, and I've done my best to heal and begin again. And I think JJ Plagiarisms just refuses to. He's admitted that he has mental illnesses and self-confidence issues and weight issues, and he never had friends as a kid. And that's the same as me. And that's why to me this is all so hard and so sad, because our lives are shockingly similar. And I don't know whether I was just lucky in the support network I had as a kid, as a teenager, or if it was my own determination to choose a different path, but we went on very different directions, and I could have ended up like him, and that scares me. Callum, I genuinely believe if things had gone differently, you and I could have been good friends. I think you're a talented kid. You're a smart kid. I want the best for you. Let's end this. I want to see you flourish. I want you to be the best person you can be. And wherever that takes you, I know you hate me, but I will be there to support you always. I'm not proud of the things I've done in the past, but this is my way of atoning for that. By helping you now begin again.